I'm going to come to you with 7 core issues that adoptees struggle with. But first, we're going to read a Bible verse like we always do, and it's going to be Colossians 3:14. And over all these virtues, put on love, which bind all together. So today, like I just mentioned, we're going to go over 7 different ones. We're going to have a summary on each one and discuss each one one by one. The first one is loss. And loss is something that adoptees feel on a regular basis, and the fear of loss, considering they lost so much already by losing their biological family, their schools, their friends. They got uprooted from where they were at. And that goes for the ones that are a little bit older and they remember where they came from. And I know that as an adoptee, feeling loss be something we like to run away from. It's not something um, which nobody likes loss. But I think that sometimes we deal with it in a different type of way. We like to run away before if we even feel like loss is coming. It's something we don't want to deal with. The second one is rejection. And rejection comes from, as you're placed into your foster home or your placement home or your adopted home, um, not knowing if you're going to feel accepted. And I mean, you got to think about it. You're entering into all new phases of everything: your school, your church, your home. You're getting new families around you. And not ever knowing if you're going to be accepted in that situation. And so I'm going to add on that can be caused by fear, being fearful of rejection. The third one is shame. And they feel that maybe they're responsible for what has happened to them. They feel like they're unlovable. And with this one here, I want to speak directly to the ones that have been adopted or maybe are being in a placement home now or being adopted or foster care right now. And I personally want to tell you that it is not your fault. You are not responsible for what has happened to you. You're not responsible for being into adoption, foster home, foster care, placement home. These are decisions that were made by an adult or somebody else, your caregiver, of something that happened, and for whatever reason it did happen, it still doesn't come back that it was your fault. And that's something I hear a lot when I speak to adopted kids, that, man, maybe it was my fault, maybe I messed up, or maybe I was just too bad, they didn't want me. And so that's something I take really personal, because I know that they put that on them, or we put that on us a lot. It's our fault, and it's really not. And the fourth one I want to talk about is grief. And grief can come in so many different forms. It can come in anger, denial, depression, and the list can go on and on and on that part. And grief can come out especially in anger, and I touched on that a little bit last week. Being angry about it, unforgiving about it, being in denial about it, depression. I know depression is a big one. That a lot of people struggle with it, but I believe also that adoptees struggle with it a lot, day to day, suicidal, withdrawn from people. And that's something that you can also seek help for, therapy, counseling. Make sure that you talk to people about if you're feeling any of these things, so it doesn't just build up and build up and build up, and then it's just a big explosion on this. And the feeling of being denied, that's something that goes way back. Being denied love, being denied feeling of wanted, spending time. Denial can go a long ways. Um, Feeling accepted, wanting to feel accepted, wanting to feel like you belong. Um, and there's so many things of the grief, that grief can go and go and go. We can probably speak all day about grief because there's so many things that go with grief that can really pop their head out on this topic. And the fifth one is identity. And this is one that I'm sure that so many adopted kids struggle with. They don't know where they fit in. You know, they don't know going into the new home, the new foster care, the placement, not knowing where do I belong in this situation, and do I belong in this situation. And I know that that's something that I struggled with when I was a kid and teenager and as an adult, of where do I belong in this situation. Um, Especially for those that have gone back and they have found their biological family, whether it be their aunts or uncles or their their dad or their mom or cousins or whatever it may be. Um, and then at the same time, you are with a good relationship with your adopted family, and it's like, where do I belong in this situation? You know, where am I accepted at? Who accepts me and who doesn't? And with that comes a lot of feelings of, it can cause depression as well. It can cause anger as well. You get frustrated. You're like, really, where do I belong in this situation? And that can put you in a very vulnerable situation. It can get you to feel, if you do get rejected, um, it can set you back a little bit. And so I'd be really careful about that. And I was sitting here trying to think about different things I could give that you could look for in this situation, of just being careful about where you belong and where you don't belong. I wouldn't say that there's anywhere you don't necessarily do not belong, unless it's just a bad situation. It's just unhealthy. Um, I would say, if all possible, enjoy both sides. Enjoy, you know, your your biological, enjoy your adopted. Um, just, kind of feel your way around, see where you belong, see where you feel most comfortable at. Always go where you feel most comfortable at, feeling safe. Um, and also, there's nothing wrong with sharing these, with your family, the ones that you trust. Like, hey, talking to your adopted parents, or even a counselor, or anybody you feel comfortable. Like, I'm struggling with this feeling of where do I belong at, and where should I be. And if you feel like this is a place that you do belong, you find out that, hey, this is where I feel like I should be, and it turns out that it's not. I would encourage you not to let that get in the way of you, of continue to find where you feel most comfortable at. Um, the next one I want to talk about is control. And it may come from a survival mode to control others into getting what they need emotionally and physically. And I think this is a big one, and I think this is one that is the most understandable for me, because control, you can get yourself in this box, and you can feel, possibly you can feel safe, like, hey, nobody can hurt me here. No, nobody can abandon me here. Nobody can reject me here. Nobody can shame me here. I can feel safe in my box that I've created because I have control of it. And although I do understand that way of thinking, that's something I have done in my past as well. But you know how we go back and we talk about, we built walls, and so nobody can hurt us. Trying to be proactive, I guess, in a sense that, let me put this up before you can get to me and before you can hurt me. And although it's understandable, it's not healthy to build these walls. And I know it can be hard to put the walls down, so to speak, and let yourself be vulnerable um, to the ones around you, to your family that you have uh, come to live with, the schools, the church. Um, Letting your walls down, giving that the people around you an opportunity and a chance to get to know you, a chance to earn your trust, and to build that relationship. And there's nothing wrong to have a sense of control in this environment, but it's not good to have complete control, and that goes for everything in life. So, with that, really be careful on the control that you have. You may be missing out on opportunities. People may really want to try to get to know you, and but you have this wall up in front of you to give you a sense of control. Um, which with that, I don't believe anybody is taking that away from you, saying that that's not understandable. That's just ridiculous. Because it is something very understandable. And the next one I want to talk about is intimacy. And that can be a big one as well as that can affect you in your adulthood and your relationships. And that may not be true for all of them, for all of us adoptees. Considering what has happened to you in your past, has happened to you in your biological home, or even in foster care, or wherever you were at, um, the feeling of being afraid to allow somebody to get close to you, even on a physical term, not allowing or wanting somebody to touch you, um, the feeling of your past, of whatever have happened to you physically, physical abuse or mental abuse, or somebody talking bad about you physically, or touching you inappropriately when you were a kid, or however they may be. And you carry that into your adulthood, into your relationships. And I find that's something that a lot of adoptees and foster kids struggle with, whether kids were beat on or touched on, and they carry that into the adulthood. And when they try to build these relationships with their significant others, they feel like, hey, that touch and maybe the way they're being touched, it can bring back backflashes from when something bad happened to them, and um, they just don't want that feeling of reminding them of what happened to them. I'll give you a one side thing about personally for me. Um, I just don't. I'm not a hugger, and that may just be because of just I'm just simply not a hugger, or I wouldn't say that I had a bad hug and I'm getting backflashes from it. Um, but little things like that may be, things that might remind somebody of something that happened to them of any sort and shape. And with the intimacy part, if somebody really struggling with that, I would, highly recommend them to get counseling. Sit down and really talk to your significant other about the struggles that you're having, uh, and what you're feeling and what it may cause you when they touch you a certain way, or may say things to you a certain way. It doesn't even have to be physically all the time. It can be even words that can trigger uh, you as when you were from a kid. So, as a physical standpoint and an emotional standpoint, it's intimacy is a vital part of your relationship, something that makes your relationships grow. So it is something that needs to be dealt with and needs to be handled with. Um, seek help, and like I just mentioned, talking to your significant other is the best place to start, and be open to them. Be open to them about it, and explain to them what's going on, so they don't feel the feeling of rejection or unloved. And so that's when it really comes into communication of letting those people around you, let them know what it is, because then it could just snowball into a whole different other situation. But I'm hoping that these topics that we talked about today can help you guys. Gives you something else to think about, expand the thinking um, of adoptees and the struggles that they struggle with every day, and go with them on this journey. Assist them. Try to be understandable. I know that these are all big core issues that are big, and they can just affect a lot of your daily life. It can affect your life. It can affect their life, and try to be understanding. And I know that some of us adopted kids can be a handful sometimes. I don't, all these feelings and emotions and stuff that we struggle with. Is a lot on a person. It can be heavy. But we just remember that we also are trying to figure out our way in life. We're also trying to figure out which way we need to live and which way we need to build relationships around us. Um, so with that, I just hope that you're encouraged and you're uplifted by these topics. And until next time, never be a stranger to a child in need. I can't outrun your love. I can't